Well, just ahead, the story behind Anne Murray's surprise new album with songs recorded in the last century but never heard until now.
And there are a couple of real gems on there. How they missed the cut, I will never know.
The Canadian superstar describes the family fun when they polished up some hidden treasures. New songs from Canadian legend Anne Murray recorded during her prime.
And here I am, almost 80 years old, with a new album. Go figure.
Music never released until now.
When your back is against.
It was so much fun to be back into it, you know.
Anne Murray sat down with Tom Power, host of CBC's Q, to explain how these lost treasures were recovered and how her family came together in the studio to add a little love.
Congratulations on these new songs, new album. I wasn't expecting it.
Neither was I.
Tell me the story.
Well, there's a young man who's been a fan of mine since he was 10 years old. He was born and grew up in Las Vegas. And when he was 15, he came to see me in Las Vegas. And he'd been a fan ever since. When he heard that I had given all of my archival material to the University of Toronto, he flew up from Las Vegas and he found a box of cassette tapes that were mine personally, that I brought home from the studio. And they were always outtakes. A vinyl would only hold 10 songs, and so we quite often overcut, so we'd have extras. So he started looking through them, and he knew every song that I had ever recorded. So he knew that these had never been released. So he listened to them in a little tiny cassette machine that he had, and he went, wow, these sound pretty good. Somehow he asked the record company, and they said, well, Capitol Records gave all their archives to the University of Calgary. And so he flew to Calgary. And he got those, and he started back about 6 years ago asking if we could have a listening party for all of these songs that he found. And I'm going, oh no, those couldn't have been any good. Those couldn't be any good. I didn't put them on my album. Well, then we started to listen. Well, there were good songs there.
Yeah.
Lynn Holt is the guy who started this whole thing, and here I am, almost 80 years old, with a new album. Go figure.
I never thought we'd hear it again. I thought we'd never talk about new music from you
I
ever
know.
again.
Well,
I think you said to me, we'll never talk about new music from you ever again.
I know. And there are a couple of real gems on there. How they missed the cut, I will never know. I've always I prided myself on being able to pick a good song.
Yeah.
And I know the difference between a song that's well crafted and one that isn't. And so I just went by instinct. And that's how all of this started, you know. And then of course, Bruce Allen my manager, gets wind of it, and he says, oh, maybe we can put these into some kind of shape. And so he gets in touch with Bob Rock and says, Bob, would you be interested in taking some of these songs and you know, doing some tweaking and mixing and so on? And he said, yes. And then yeah, that'd be fun. Mm-hmm. And so we spent the whole summer doing, you know, little bits and pieces and mixing, and Adam Greenholz was his engineer, was in Calgary. So we had this thing going, and Bob was in Hawaii, and I was in Nova Scotia.
Pugwash.
Pugwash. And so we had this thing going, and it was so much fun to be back into it, you know. And then I got the chance to, because we had background vocals to put on, I had some guitar parts to put on. I just happened to be in Pugwash, have a fine guitar player. My nephew, Dale Murray, is a great guitar player. My daughter happened to be there. So let's all go in the studio. Dale has a studio, right 15 minutes from my place. And so we all went into the studio. It was like a family affair.
What did it mean to you to have Don and Dale on that song?
To be there, Dale at the controls, and you know, he played some solos and Don sang, and we did one tune where he says to me, and Don says, "Mom, come out and sing, come on." And I'm going, "Oh God, I'm so rusty, I can't sing." So anyway, we had to get a stool so I could stand on it, and I was across the microphone from Dawn to make me as tall as she is.
Yeah.
And I sang background with her, and so it was so much fun to do. The thing is, I had to take one headphone off because I couldn't tell what I was singing and what Dawn was singing because our voices are so similar that I didn't know who was singing what. So I couldn't tell whether I was singing in tune or not. And I guess I was, because when I listen back, it sounds fine.
I'm delighted, but a little surprised by it all. Because I thought, I mean, people used to talk to me about the conversation that we had before, and they used to come up to me at Shoppers or something like that, and they'd say to me, "Geez, I heard you're, you know, talking to Anne," and I said, "Oh yeah," and they said, "Geez, she never sings, you know, she put it all behind her. There's no more singing, you know, she's playing golf, she's playing tennis, she's hanging out, she's enjoying her life."
I kind of got sung out. You know, towards the end, I was working so hard, and I was in my 60s.
You just got physically exhausted.
Physically, it was too difficult, too hard on the voice at that age, and I was, I was a workhorse.
This is the last question. It goes without saying now, and you're going to have to sit through this. I'm sorry that you're one of the most important Canadian artists of our time. What are the emotions that you're feeling knowing that there's new Anne Murray music coming out?
It's so exciting. I can't tell you, but it's one of the highlights of my whole career, really, when you think about it. I was in the studio with my nephew and my daughter singing, doing an album that I never thought was ever there.
Yeah. Thanks for making the time for us.
Thank you.
God love you.